So we've got a series of questions around trust and related issues. How much are MLAs paid, and is it too much when so many public sector workers are on a pay freeze or very small increases?
In terms of how much MLAs are paid, it varies from MLA to MLA. The majority of us are paid a standard salary. I think at the moment it's 53,000, and the rest get special responsibility allowances if they're chairs of committees or if they sit on the commission. We also claim expenses, but those expenses don't come to us personally. They go to hiring an office, they go to paying our staff, and all of those sorts of costs that we have incurred directly as a result of the job that we do. Is it too much? Well, that depends how you see the value of the job that MLAs do. If I had stayed as an engineer working at the level that I was and progressing through my career, I would be earning more now as an engineer than I am as a politician. So arguably, no, it's not enough. But is it enough relative to what a lot of people earn? Well, it's clearly a very good salary. So I'm not really here to lobby for more money or less money for politicians. I'm here to argue for good value for money from your politicians. If they're not working hard, if they're not earning that money, and if they're not delivering for people, then I think that there are good reasons why people might want to choose different people to represent them.
Should parties have to reveal who their donors are?
Absolutely, we already do. We do it voluntarily on our website. You can go to donations, and all our returns to the Electoral Commission are there for everyone to see since I think around 2011. I also changed the law when I was an MP at Westminster so that once the Secretary of State decides that donor transparency will be possible in Northern Ireland, it will be backdated to January 2014. And I also wrote to him in December asking him to review it, which he is doing now, and I started a petition that people can sign up to call on him to lift the barrier to transparency. I think it's important that people can make a judgment for themselves about whether or not we're working on behalf of the public who elect us or working on behalf of our donors, and I think it's pretty clear the only way you can do that is if you can see who makes those large donations.
What should we do about the RHI scheme? Surely somebody needs to be held accountable.
I think people do need to be held accountable. I don't think it needs to be a witch hunt, but I do think people need to be held accountable, because unless we know who's responsible, it's very difficult to be able to take corrective action and make sure that it isn't repeated in the future. There is the suspicion around this that there is corruption and cronyism as well as simple neglect around public duty in terms of scrutiny. And so I think it's really important that the public inquiry goes ahead, that it reaches its conclusions, and if there is any suggestion of illegality or any suggestion of cronyism or corruption, that's then passed on to the police and the Commissioner for Standards to be dealt with, because we need to restore trust in politics. Also important is that we stop the drain of money from RHI in the short term, which is why we didn't block legislation that went through as emergency procedure in the Assembly just before it collapsed, to make sure that money would not continue to be paid. But regardless, we've got to make sure it's not repeated.
What's the price of milk?
I don't drink milk, and that isn't even a joke. I have not drunk milk. I'll tell you, just so that you're clear, I have not drunk milk since I was at primary school, because the smell of warm milk sitting in my classroom turned me, and I won't even have milk in the house.
It'd be difficult to get the dairy farmer votes for these Belfast now.
It will. Tim Morrow is not a happy man because he has a dairy herd and he's my party colleague, but I don't drink milk and never have.